Hi, good evening, everyone. So, yes, welcome to today's class. We'll be starting immediately. So, before I start, let's just say a little prayer. Can everyone hear me? All right, thank you. Let's just say a little prayer and then we can begin. In the name of the Father. Father, we thank you for the gift of today. We pray that you give us your grace, that as we have come together to learn, that we're able to learn. May we be able to understand what is being taught, and may you help the instructor to be able to teach well, so that at the end all of us are going to achieve our goals through Christ our Lord. Amen. My Father. So yes, begin. So as discussed on Monday, we did the usability testing. So today we'll be treating, let me quickly share my screen. The Jakob Nielsen's usability heuristic evaluation. So please, at any point, if you stop hearing what I'm saying or if you're not understanding what I'm saying, you can just unmute your mic and call me back. Thank you so much. So we'll be treating Jakob Nielsen's usability heuristic evaluation, and during this during the course of this teaching, we'll be handling the introduction and definition, the 10 usability heuristics for user interface design and how to apply them, and then when to conduct a heuristic evaluation. So, first of all, this heuristic evaluation, there are a set of principles that was created by a big designer guy. His name is Jakob Nielsen in the year 1994. And ever since then, many design industries, a lot of designers have been able to use this in for over like more than 20 years. It's still very much relevant in the industry because of how impactful it is and how it has helped in better design decisions. So yes, what is heuristics evaluation? It's just a method of testing that is used to identify design problems in a user interface. Remember, the last one we did was usability testing. It's its own different kind of testing. This one is another type of testing that is normally used. And evaluators judge the design against a set of guidelines that make systems easy to use. Now, the major difference between this usability testing and heuristics evaluation is just that when you're doing usability testing, you do it with users. But then when you're doing heuristics evaluation, designers that conduct it, experts, pros, teams, but it's just a set of designers that conduct heuristics evaluation. Something you can just do in-house and then make your reports. So let's continue. So we have 10 usability heuristics for user interface design. And these 10 principles, they don't just help for just okay when you're testing. It helps you when you're also designing. So you make better design decisions. Do you understand? So yes. So we'll be going into 10. Then the 10 heuristics for user interface design. The first one is visibility of system status. Now, this principle says that the design should always keep users informed about what is going on through appropriate feedback within a reasonable amount of time. Now, what this thing just simply means is that at any point the user is, they should be able to know what is happening in the system. Don't ever leave them feeling like what is happening. Let's take for instance, when you're trying to when you're done paying, like let's say you're done making your transaction in OP, and then after clicking on pay, and then you put in your pin, then the next screen that comes up, if you're observant, is a screen that tells you that your transaction has been successful. Now you can imagine if you're done paying money and next thing your OP app goes off, or you go back to the home screen, like you're done putting your pin. You just try to imagine the scenario. you're done putting your pin, and next thing, OPay just takes you to the home screen, and you see that your money have reduced. Now you might feel confused. What happened? Like, what happened? I mean, I paid. Did they tell me whether I was successful or not? Now questions already entering your head. You're not, they did not like take you through the process of, okay, your payment is already completed, though. Or imagining they take you back to the home screen, and then the person you send the money to is telling you that I did not see any money. But now you cannot even say whether you sent the money or not, because you do not see any evidence for that. Now, at any point, the user is, if you want to take them to another screen and it needs to go through loading, you take them, you show them, okay, that this screen is loading. Your screen is, you show them like states, you show them states like loading status. I mean, that means that something is loading. And then maybe as the screen is loading to the next screen, you tell them that, okay, they should wait for some time or something like that. Then you can also show them when a transaction is successful, or when an action they completed is successful, or when the action they even did is failed. Just give them something. Don't leave them asking questions. This will help them to feel that, okay, I'm actually in control. And like, I know what is happening. Like, I know that, okay, my screen is loading now, and maybe after loading this will happen. Like, you're taking them through the entire process. You should never allow them to ask, is this thing, what's going on? Is this thing working? You as a designer should be able to answer that question even before they think of it. So yes, an example is, which I've just said, if you see this screen now, this is like a payment flow, where you get to, you show them this first screen is like a payment screen, showing them they will have to like choose how they want to pay, and then the balance in their account. Then the next one is now showing them the full details of the payment. Now there was like a clear breakdown of all the payments. Then the last screen is the most important one I want to show, which is once they click on buy now, the screen that will come out next is that, okay, this payment has been successful. This is just it explains this visibility of system status, showing them the status that the system is actually undergoing at that point. Now this payment successful is just a very clear example, giving them feedback on the interaction they just did now with the application. So the next one, this one is just an example, like a loading, we have like plenty examples here. The first one is, you can see like this 4 lines here. It's kind of it shows like the progress. Okay, you move from here to here to here. Now this last screen that's showing card information is the last if you're not understanding, please call me back. This last screen that is showing card information is the last flow in this payment. Like, you follow from the first one, second one. It's kind of like giving them a feedback that we have like 4 steps to your done paying or confirming your card information. Yeah. And then after that, once they are done with this step and then they click on payments now, then they go to the loading screen, which gives them information that something is happening. We are trying to fetch your details and make sure if this transaction or if this thing you're doing is verified. Then after that, you now see like a congratulations, which is also another feedback you're giving your users. So at every point in time, try to carry them along. Show them all the possible states you can possibly show them. Don't hide anything and don't leave them guessing. That is what just that principle is all about. So the second one is that you should match between the system and the real world. Your design should speak the user's language, not your own. Now, there's a very big reason why we do research. And that is because a lot of things you discover from research. You discover the pain of this user, what they're expecting from you, what they can be able to use, like a lot of things. And one of the things you also discover during this research is terminologies that are common to your specific target audience. Now, let's say you're designing a kids app, maybe like a Bible story application or a storybook application. The kind of technologies you're using there, maybe if you want to take them, it's not going to be the same with technologies you're using for a finance application, like a banking app. Of course, the kids app, the technologies to be using there will be very kid-like, childlike. Let's play, let's go. Yes, do this, like that kind of you begin them that kind of friendly CTAs, like call to actions or words, like something like that. But when you come to like a banking app, from even the feel, you're seeing seriousness, you're seeing things like pay now, get started, all this kind of things. So you try to use words, you use visuals. The visuals you see in a story app or a kids app might be very much colorful, but then when you come to a banking app, highest you see like three colors and then you're done. Even the buttons, everything, the elements are different. Normally, the way that you're using, if you're doing a design that is friendly, you kind of use rounded buttons. Then if you're doing corporate kind of designs, banking, you use kind of um all these corporate law firms, all these kind of serious companies and formal companies, you use you don't use borders, or you don't use much borders in your buttons. All these things are things that feel, when it even comes down to the fonts you're choosing, the colors you're using, everything, it has to feel familiar to people that are using that product. They should be able to relate to the product like it was built for them in particular. So you should not use unfamiliar terms from them. You should not use jargons for them. You should not use designer grammar. Just use, do research, check for terminology that these people are used to, check for elements that is around them, check the kind of colors that they relate to, and use it in your design. A very another thing another element of this match between system and real world is when it comes to let's say you want to put a search icon. Now if you look at this first example, the search icon they put a telescope, which does not relate to search. When you come to contact, you're seeing messages, it does not relate to contact. So use things that are familiar. When you want to when the icon you're using is a search icon, you put search as it. If it's filter, you put the icon that matches. Just put things that relate to each other. In a an e-commerce app, there are like kind of like technologies and icons they use. When it comes to finance app, there's kind of technologies and icons they use. You'll be able to recognize that and put it in your design. So that's what that means. Um, then the next one is user control and freedom. User makes mistakes. Sometimes they make small mistakes, sometimes they make big mistakes. So design should give them that freedom to be able to undo their mistake, go back or exit without having so much stress. Let me just use a real life example before I say what is on my screen. So sometimes when you delete something in your Gmail, they'll be like undo. It's already deleted though, but there is undo. And sometimes even in your if you're using Google Photos, like even if you delete something, you can still be able to find it in your trash in case you made a mistake. This is just the perfect example. For people that are using like iPhone and iOS, when you delete something, they'll be like undo what you deleted or back, something like that. So it's sometimes users they can tap the wrong, but I can tap delete wrongly, and then maybe I didn't mean to tap it, or I wanted to delete a large set of data from my phone, and then I deleted everything, and then I'm like, oh, I'm meant to delete, I'm meant to leave this, so, and I went and deleted it. Then you're trying to like go and find it back. Sorry, let me come again. So let's say, okay, you want to delete something in your phone, and then you kind of like delete, but at some point find out that okay, there are some things I'm not meant to delete though. Now if these applications or if these systems do not have a functionality where you can go back and recover the photos you deleted or the document you deleted or those things, it will be hard for you. You feel frustrated. So you have to give them an easy way to reverse their actions, give them that freedom, give them that control. When they're using your product, they should feel like if anything happens, I'm safe. Nothing. I mean, if I delete something mistakenly, I can still refresh it back. If I delete something mistakenly, they can confirm for me before I even permanently delete it. You get? So that's just what this one means. It gives your user more confidence, and then it makes them using your product. It gives them that freedom of safety. Okay, let me do a quick check-in. Are you is there anybody that is confused upon to those points? I don't know. Like, are you guys following? Someone should say something, please. Okay, thank you. Let's go back. So at any point, this thing can be a whole lot, and maybe if you're taking notes and you feel like okay, you did not get something, you can hold that one back. But just as long as you're following, if you stop following, just come back. Thank you. So let's continue. So the next one we have is sorry. This next principle we have is consistency and standards. Now, users don't have to learn your product from scratch for them to use it. People don't have time. Oh, that's the truth. If you frustrate them, they will leave you there. They will not even stress themselves. That's just the honest truth. So, and in your phone now, you have like up to like 20 apps, 10, 15, and you're interacting with this app every time. I mean, most of us always like on TikTok, Instagram, on our banking apps, on WhatsApp. Like we always like using applications to help ourselves in whatever aspect we want to help ourselves. So most users spend their time using digital products, using apps, using websites. So when they come to your product, they should not feel like when they come to your product, they already have some expectations in their head. And somehow you should be able to meet that. You should be able to give them that familiarity that they feel when they go to other applications. Yes, you might want to be creative, but try to still maintain the standards. Don't try to don't try to go like now. If you go to your, let me just show you a quick example. If you go to your, this is like a website, is a hero section of a website, sorry, a hero section of a website. Now imagine if this header that is on top, if it was somewhere around here, it's going to feel very awkward because if the person wants to navigate, of course, they already in their head, they already have that, okay, if I want to navigate, I just have to look up in my website and I'll see how I can navigate. But now, you now made them to start searching around, oh, where can I navigate to? That it does not really make sense. It's going to stress them. So when they're using your product, they should not they should be able to see that familiarity with other product they're using. You can even notice it. Okay, let's just say like fintech apps. They have one structure, almost one structure. You're going to see your balance on top. Next, you're going to see sometimes you see your recent transactions. Sometimes you see your quick actions just below. It's like it's just something that is being done repeatedly. Now your own can have a different structure. Some people's fintech applications can come with, like a rectangle. It's inside like a frame, a rectangle. Some people's one can come without a frame. Some people's one they can place their own in the middle. Some people can place their own at the extreme. These are variations. But end of the day, if I look up, I'm seeing my balance on top because that's like a behavior I've experienced with Abby. This is like a functionality I've experienced with other fintech apps I've used. So you should be able to maintain that in your design. Don't try to be over creative. Creativity is very important, but just try to, and that's why they tell you that when you're starting out your design journey, you should be able to redesign good designs. Like those apps that are doing so well, like Cowrywise, like OP, like Piggyvest, like let me not say Instagram, it's a lot. Like just this, like YouTube, is going to take you time, but try and redesign them. Because when you redesign them, when you design a lot of apps, you're able to see the pattern in those apps. When I did like my first website design, it was not what website, normal website looks like. And when I showed my mentor, she was like, nah, this is not how it, because it does not even have the website structure. Websites have structure. Every website have a structure. You should be able to learn that. But you can only learn that when you practice, like when you go around and see how other people build their website. You practice the design, you redesign it, and then you learn from them. What I'm just saying is, for you to be able to carry out this principle very well, you have to be able to learn how to redesign a lot. Go and redesign. If you want to learn better, you'll tell you that in design, you don't always have to come off with your own idea. You still like an artist. You steal from here, steal from here, steal from here, and make something beautiful. So you should be able to like design. Maybe you can design a lot of like fintechs, and when you do like up to 2 to 3 fintech applications that do so well in the global market, you're able to see patterns that you can use in your own design. When you design like up to 5 or 10 websites, be able to see how website structure is, and when you're doing your own, someone can be able to relate that this is a website if they're interacting with it. So yes, maintain, have learn these patterns that come with web applications. Like web applications, they have a lot of dashboards, so you have to learn that too. try and redesign and learn how these patterns are in the different industries and in different designs, so that when somebody uses your product, they're able to relate to it and they don't have to think too much for them to use it. For example, as I said, when you come to a website, normally they have this top nav bar where you can be able to navigate. Sometimes logos can be at the extreme, logos can be in the middle. I've never really seen logos at the extreme, and you can try that. If it works for your users, fine. But yeah, and then there's always like a button up, and then normally we have like a hero text and a hero image. All these things are like things that are related to like normal. If you check out like 5 to 3 websites, you see the structure, it still maintains the structure. No matter the kind of creativity you're seeing there, you still see text, you still see image. Sometimes you will not even see image, but you see that the background is interesting. You see that there is a navigation where someone can, okay, follow from here and go to here, follow from here and go to here. So yes. And then in applications too, I use the fintech as an example. Normally when you come to applications, this one is the most the bottom navigation is what you relate to application. You always see like a bottom navigation down, and then most applications, I've not seen any application that I've used personally that the navigation is on top. The highest you can see is, okay, you can see like 3 lines, which is like a menu. When you click on it, to open a field by the side, and then you see like content. But I've not seen like, sorry, I've not seen like serious navigations that, give me a minute. I've never seen like serious navigations that, I've not seen any application with navigations on top. Like, hey, this place they wrote good morning, Terry. I've not seen the navigations on top of that place. It's always like, okay, you see greetings, so as they have greetings, then you see like that's just how they are structured. You try to learn the structures, and then if you want to be creative, you can, but just try to maintain the structures and the design patterns. Then the next one is error prevention. Now, instead of you, of course, you're a designer, of course, you can fix errors when they happen, but you should be able to design in a way that even prevents the error from happening in the first place. A good design, you rarely see errors. Users don't even notice that something is happening. They'll just be using, and then they're happy, like everything is just going well, like there's no friction. That's why you know a very good design. Then we have like 2 types of error. We have the slips and the mistake. The slips happen when a user is distracted, like you might just be holding your phone and you're talking with your friend, and next thing you can press, okay, let's say now you want to send a message to somebody, and then something distracts you on your WhatsApp, and then you now send the message to the wrong person. Imagine when okay, I don't know if that is a good example, but I'm just trying to say is that, okay, sometimes you might be distracted, sometimes your hand might slip, sometimes you might click the wrong thing. So this is what happens with slips. And then you can prevent these slips by having confirmation mode. Like, let's say for instance, you want to delete something on your WhatsApp. Let's use that WhatsApp. You want to delete something, and then you click on thing. They'll be like, "Are you sure you want to delete this?" You now be like, "Yes, I want," or you be like, "No, I don't want." Or even normal CBT exam, you might mistakenly click on. Imagine if there was no confirmation mode that like that is coming up, or confirmation question that was coming up, and then you're like writing an exam and mistakenly your hand go and click on submit. Imagine if your question submit at that point. That's like top level frustrations. So our design should be able to help to prevent these slips from happening. If I should send message to the wrong person, am I able to unsend it? Am I able to delete it? Am I able to remove it? That's the kind of like what you have to be thinking. If this person deletes this thing by mistake, if this person clicks on this by mistake, are they able to like, so just try and prevent the mistakes from even happening at the first place. Sometimes we have like this thing where if you're imputing some important information, the button will be in a disabled state, and until you're done putting the vital information, it will not be able to click upon. This is just to prevent the error from happening in the first place. If the person even mistakenly clicks on that disabled button, nothing will happen. But because, and then until you're done clicking and putting the right information before you can now see, before the button becomes clickable. So these are things you should have in mind. Then mistakes. Mistakes happens when a user misinterprets the design you have on your interface, or when your design is not clear, or when the terminology or the word used in your design confuses them. So you can help to prevent slips by having clear labels. Like when you come to address, they might be confused. If you just write address, they might confuse, is it home address or is it delivery address, or is it, like, let's say if somebody wants other food and come and write just address, you don't know whether it's home, you don't know whether it's delivery address, sorry, you don't write whether it is home address, you don't write whether it is delivery address. So all these things are just like, and then the person has to come and be thinking, the person will now go and put home address. So, and when you now deliver the food to, imagine the kind of mistake you have already made through your design. They will now bring the food for the person to the person's house, and the person is at the person's workplace. So try to prevent all of this. Use simple language. Okay, let me show you a very clear example. Now, this is like a mistake that, this one is very common, like when you're inputting passwords. Now, people might not even know the right password to put, and they might mistakenly just put just random words as password. Now, with your work as a designer, to allow them to not even reach the stage of when they click on enter or when they click on sign in or create account, you will not tell them that that password is not correct. That is frustrating. Like, imagine if you're done clicking, like putting everything, you put your password, then you now think you're done, you now click on continue, you now come and tell that your password is not correct. And one thing, and then the person has to go back again and probably even start filling everything from the beginning. Now, what you do to even prevent this mistake of putting the wrong password in the first place is to show them what is expected for them in every password. If you see this first example now, like they're telling you your password strength, your password strength is weak. It must be 8 characters. It can't include, like, all these things are just little hints that helps the person to not make any mistake or to not misinterpret what they have on the design. Or okay, see this one now. As the person is clicking, the password strength is increasing. That is just how to help to prevent that as a designer. Error prevention, right? Yeah, error prevention. So the next one is recognition rather than recall. But before I continue, let me just ask a quick question. I've not been sharing my screen since. Hello?
You've been sharing, you've been sharing.
Okay. Is there any question? Like, I was still in sync with me. Like, is there any question? You're sure? Okay. Let me continue. If there is no question. So yeah, thank you. Okay, Ugochukwu, you're raising your hand. You can unmute your mic.
Are you going to share the slides after the class?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so please, what is the topic of this lesson? Because I joined when you started.
The Jakob Nielsen, let me just show you quickly. Let me type it on the messages. So that's the topic of today's class. Yeah, hopefully the spelling is correct. So let's continue. And please, if you have any, just unmute your mic. Thank you so much. So yeah. The next one is recognition rather than recall. Users should not have to remember anything from one screen to another. See, as a designer, you should be able to clear everything. Like, they should not be able to think if there isn't your design. Let it be like, okay, you know their next step, everything that they don't have to think it too much. You're guiding them throughout the entire process. It's not easy. It's not easy, but you just have, that's why feedbacks are important. Like, as you're designing and you're shipping it out, you're collecting feedbacks from users, if the feedbacks are actually like impact, because some people can, yeah, if the feedbacks make sense, you can actually work on them and then keep improving the design. But as much as you can, make sure that you help the user to not think much when they're using your product, so that they'll be happy as they're using. They will not have to. They'll feel stress free. So your design should keep the important information very visibly. Sorry, very visible, very clear, and easy to pick up at a glance. If they have to remember instructions, if they have to remember what an icon means, if they have to remember what their last step was, then it becomes stressful. And before they even get the value of the product you designed, they must have become tired. Yes. So a clear example is still this one that and this screen I showed previously. Now, if you come here under this balance now, they didn't just if they showed just the money, if they just showed $32, you'll be wondering, okay, what is $32 by, let's say now this account have like different cards. You won't even know which card it is, or whether it's your total balance, or whether it is the balance of one card. But because they just said this is your balance or total balance, you already know that this is the total balance of the money in your card. Or this bottom navigation, where you kind of like you see the icons, you see the home icon, you see the map icon, you see the transfer icon. I'm not This design is faint. So if you just put only the icon, someone that does not know that house is home will be wondering, what's this icon, what does it even mean? Or if you put this map icon and then they're not familiar with map, and they're asking, what does this thing even mean? What is this navigation? You're already making them ask questions. So why not just put labels like this one? Now, most of the applications that you use, you will see the icon, you see the name, the label of the icon. And for you to not put label, that means people you're designing for are very, very familiar with that icon. That's when you can even remove it. But instead of it to not put icon, or instead of it to not put, just put only label. But make sure that that every icon you're using, everything you're using, you're able to, okay, this is what this is, this is what this is. At a glance, they know what it is. They don't have to think too much to know what that is. So let's continue. The next one is flexibility and efficiency of use. Shortcuts, which is hidden from novice users. Like this one is just talking about shortcuts in design. When you like people that are using design for the first time, let's say now you are starting UI/UX design, you're still starting, and Figma is a new interface for you. Now, as a beginner, you might not even know that. Okay, you might just know the basic one. Okay, if I want to delete, I'll right click, and then options will come up, and I'll now choose delete. Fine. You as a beginner, you're not having any problem using the design. But then Figma is an interface you use to design a product with up to 100 screens, a product with up to 200 flows, a product with as much as Figma is a very big tool that can use to do a lot of possibilities. And imagine when every time you want, let's say I've used Figma for 1 year. 1 year is even too much, for 3 months. And then every time you want to delete, you have to right click. Or anytime you want to create the component, you have to carry your hand or carry your cursor, move up, choose component, come back. That is stressful. So this principle is just saying that fine, shortcut might be hidden from, but you should have shortcut that an experienced user will be able to use and to speed up their interactions, so that your design can cater for both experienced users and inexperienced users. Now, as you use Figma continuously, you'll be able to understand that Shift plus A is auto layout. You don't need to right click and then find auto layout before you choose auto layout. If you just click Shift A, you have changed that without shifting your cursor up or down. You have changed that particular component or that particular element to an auto layout. If you click on Control D, you have deleted. You don't have to go to your keyboard and find delete, or you don't have to right click and find delete for you to delete. If you click Control Alt alternative, Control Alt and P, you can reuse the last plugin that you used previously. If you click Control Shift K, you can just quickly get an image and put in your design. Like, these are just things that as you're designing, it's already helping to design faster. You don't have to waste time that you're trying to do this and do that. So that's what just flexibility and efficiency of use means. If you know your design is something that, okay, people are going to use to do like a larger, or even if people are not still going to use it. But yeah, if you know that you can be able to have shortcuts that will help an experienced user to use your product faster and much more effectively, then you add it. That's just what they are saying. But make sure that both the inexperienced and the experienced are getting top level user experience. The next one is aesthetic and minimalist design. You might see this and be like, my design is very simple. Like, it does not mean that your design should be super simple, it should be flat, just there. Your design should be well detailed. You should have every component, you should have every element is meant to have. Sometimes designs are bold, sometimes designs are simple, sometimes designs are classy, sometimes designs are corporate. It just depends on your style. But whatever style you're choosing in your design, make sure that what is on that screen is what is important. You're not going to have problem with having a minimalistic look. You're going to have, yeah, I don't think websites will be hard for you to figure out. By the time you practice like continuously different websites, very good looking website too, and like websites that meet up with both the UI and UX. When you practice designing websites, it will get easier for you at some point. Like you'll be able to maintain that minimalism at some point. But when you're going to have like a very big challenge with the minimalist design, oh sorry, just took the light. Give me a minute. Okay, but when you're going to have problem with minimalist design is when you're designing like dashboards. It's very hard because of the kind of information that dashboards carry. What I'm just saying is that whenever you're designing, make sure that every element you're putting, every information you're putting, every image you're putting, every visual you're putting, if it's graphical, if it's picture, if it is text, if it is shape, anything, make sure it is important for that particular, it is something that is necessary for that particular the design you want to do. If it's not going to be used, if it is not necessary, please remove it. Because when you try to like, oh, let me show this, let me show that, let me show this, let me show that, it might now make the user, it might be hard for them to find something to even focus on. Or even, okay, what am I looking at here? Like, it's going to make things harder for your users. So make sure that your interface shows only what is important. Don't put any extra information that nobody needs. Don't put any visual that nobody needs. Don't put anything that will probably make your design to feel cluttered. And as much as possible, please, your design should be neat. Make sure you use a lot of maximize white space in your designs. That's why it's important for you to learn your basics very well when it comes to spacings, alignment, what are all these elements? Line spacings or text spacings, alignment, typography. These basics, learn it very well, because the way spacing, something as little as spacing can take your design from an amateur look to a high level, a senior designer look. If the way you space your elements. So just try to learn those basics, get grounded in them. Spacing, alignment, typography, all these things. It's very, very technical sometimes, because even developers I need to be able to interpret what you designed, and you have to make it easier for them. So yes, make sure that everything you're showing on your screen is what is important at that moment. If it's not, please take it out. Don't put it. For example, now, if you come to this screen now, it just shows what it needs to show. It shows I am the hero image. It shows the nav bar. It shows the pack your bag. That's like your hero text. It shows the button. Now, you cannot come and be seeing unnecessary things like maybe someone can just come and put a rectangle that is not showing. Of course, you can put shapes sometimes to add, just make your design to look more fun, but just make sure that it does not distract them from the main thing that they are to focus on. So just make sure you maintain that minimalistic look. And then, yes, that's it. So the next one is help users to recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. Errors should be communicated clearly in plain language. Sometimes when you have system errors, they tell you things that you don't even understand. Like you could just read them, you never understand what's happening. Sometimes it's now like your like computer repair that will not be able to understand what came out for you. So you should be able to. Okay, so you should be able to let me quickly go back. So you should be able to communicate the errors in simple language. If somebody made a mistake or if somebody's data connection, okay, that's not an example. If somebody let me just give you an example. Okay, this is like a design. And when you show them, let's say something went wrong. Maybe someone clicked on and then um the person made a mistake or the person clicked on something that is not functional in your maybe your design, it has not been shown yet. Now tell them that okay, something went wrong, but we're working on it. That you should please try again. And then there's a quick CTA for them to try again. So the idea of this help users to recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors is if there's a problem in the system or if something is happening, maybe if they're trying to load up something, it's not loading. You tell them that okay, this is not loading because of your internet connect. Sometimes you sit in OP, you're trying to transact money and then you don't have data or your network is having problem. They'll tell you that okay, that your this thing is not connecting. They will not tell you what to do. They don't just tell you that okay, you're not able to do the transaction because you don't have enough network. They kind of tell you okay, they'll tell you that you should check your Wi-Fi, check your mobile data whether it is on, go to your settings. Like they give you actionable steps on how you can actually come out of that error or that problem you're experiencing. So users feel frustrated if they don't understand an error. So if something that is their problem, you tell them that it is them that is causing. You tell them that okay, this is coming from the fact that your data is not on or you have low internet connectivity. That you should check your data or check your mobile data to check whether it is on. I'm sorry, I'm talking fast. I'm trying to be slow as much as possible. So tell them that okay, your internet connectivity is not, or they're trying to check out from a cart, but nothing inside the cart. You tell them that nothing inside the cart, that they should go, you now redirect them to go to the home page or to go to the product page and go and select product before they can check out from the cart. So you don't just tell them that okay, there's an error. Tell them how to recover from those errors. That's just it. So the next one is help and documentations. I think I made a mistake with this slide. I'll correct it before I send it. So this one just means that at every point, if you're able to provide help, I have enough documentation to give to your users whenever they're using your application or your product. For instance, when somebody is using an application for the first time, normally what most app does is part of the onboarding process. They take you through the main element of the application. Oh, this is where your total balance will show. Oh, this is where this will show. And then when you don't understand what is happening, you can quickly either contact the customer support, which is somewhere very visible on your screen, or you go to their help center and seek for help. So most times we achieve this help and documentation by normally websites, when people are coming to your website, they might have like questions to ask. So instead of them to you help them by providing FAQs for them, frequently asked questions for them in the website, or you have in-app chats, or you have customer support bots, or you have step-to-step instructions for complex tasks. You take them through the entire process. So an example is this application now. Let's say James entered this app newly, and then the application is not taking them through the application. Oh, James, this is where you understand this. This is where you do this. This is where you do this. They take them through the entire application. But just know that this kind of example, they call it like interactive tool tips. As long as it's not more than 5, you're okay. But don't do it too much. You can provide other help within as they're using your product. So yes. Before I go into this next one we have, let's know if everybody's on the same page. Is everybody following? Any question? Ugochukwu, what's the problem? You said that it's very hard. I don't know. Okay, he's not here.
No, it was when you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it was when you are talking about dashboards and web app stuff that dashboards have a lot of content in it and it's very hard. That was strong that time, but
No,
it's
no,
alright.
don't get scared. Normally, dashboard is it has a lot of mental work to do because of the information you have to show. If you're not careful, you may not be able to visually like represent the information very well. And as I said, but for you to be on a safe side, if you want to start, let's say okay, you want to explore dashboards, you go on YouTube, you watch people designing those dashboards. when you're done watching them, you go on like apps like Behance, Pinterest, Dribble. You go there and find inspiration, dashboard designs, then you redesign them. But just make sure that, as I said, when you're designing like complex structures, interfaces like dashboard, try to make sure that you organize your information. Okay, what should I show this person now? Most times when I'm designing, I'm like, is this information important? Is it helping them to make any decision? If it's not, why is it here in the first place? Remove it. If it's not helping them at that section, maybe when you enter your student's dashboard, you're going to see like total classes, all this. If you come to a general student dashboard and then you're showing something like teachers attendance, it does not make any sense. It's not helping them to make any decision. So that's why research is very important, and that's why I have to think more than you design. Like make sure you have mapped out your structure on paper or anywhere that is good for you then before you even start going into the design, so you don't get confused. But then practice dashboards. If you want to say, okay, I want to learn how to design websites, you go on YouTube, watch some videos, then you can find some design, replicate those designs. If you want to learn dashboards, you do the same thing. You watch on YouTube, you come back, you replicate dashboards that your other people are doing, and it's as simple as, it's not very simple. Design is a gradual process. So you just have to, that's how you just get to learn. Then by the time you do this thing continuously, you see yourself when you want to do a dashboard design, you start thinking like those designers you're designing that dashboard. Okay, what is important for this user at this stage now? What do they need to see? Which information is vital for them? They don't need to see their balance. What with their balance? Like let's say you enter like a fintech dashboard. Of course, the balance should be there so that if they want to make payment, they're able to know that okay, this is the money I have in my account. But if you are showing things that are unnecessary, now that's what I'm just trying to say. But as I said, just redesign as much as you can, and then you'll be fine. So, is there another question? Like, if you're confused at any point, I can go back before um I continue. Any question at all? Okay. Let's continue then. So, hmm, the next one is when to conduct a heuristic evaluation. It's just very simple. Before user testing, you as a designer, you're meant to evaluate your design before you even give it to people to start using. So before you give it to users to test, you should be able to, okay, check all these things, check them. When as you're checking them, you're taking notes. If you have like, most companies, what they normally do is when they are doing all these things, they create like a spreadsheet. You can also do it yourself. You create like a spreadsheet. Any mistake you see, you write it down. Then after you're done with the entire testing, you now come and start taking everything one after the other. So before you even give it to users to test, you should be able to do this evaluation. Then during your iterative design phases, as I said, design is a continuous process. It does not really follow a structure. You can, during that iteration, you can even, okay, iterate. After you're done iterating, you test it. Is it working? Before you even can start designing. So during your entire design phases, you can just be checking all these things. Maybe if you do a flow, you try and evaluate the flow. Is there any point where I feel like, okay, you evaluate it with these principles? Is there any point where I have to improve? You ask yourself those questions. Then if there is, you work on it. Then before launching a digital product. But the problem, this one is much more expensive because you're done with the entire product and then you're now doing heuristics evaluation. It might seem overwhelming for you at that time. And even if it does not seem overwhelming for you, the errors you might notice might be too much. And then you see yourself going back and back. So you can just do it flow by flow, take it step by step. After every flow, you evaluate it. Is this thing working? Which state? And sometimes something I try to do when I'm designing is, because normally we use AI to design. So you're kind of like asking AI, okay, help me to generate this flow. You check the flow. Is it matching up with the flow that is it going to, like, you check the flow yourself. So if it's matching up to what you're intending for the users, then you can also ask AI to help you to like generate scenarios or errors that can probably happen within this flow. All these things are things you just have to do to help you to design better. So, and then when you're redesigning an app or website, some companies might come to, an individual might come to and be like, I need to redesign my website. So we're not getting enough users. This design is not just working for my company. Then first of all, before you even start, okay, before you start your main design process, it's part of your design process, of course. But before you even start designing, you should now go and like check, start checking all these structures and know if your design was able to meet up with them. If it's a website, you check if the website meets up with this evaluation. And yeah, that's just it. I'm done for today's class. I don't know. It's time for questions. Please ask questions. I'm begging. Or better still, I might ask you guys. Ask who. I were able to understand everything. Eh? People don't have questions to ask. If I give like maybe a website redesign project,